Getting married in Brazil is one of the most meaningful steps a couple can take. But if you are a foreigner or planning to marry a Brazilian national, understanding how the system works is absolutely essential before you start making any romantic plans. Brazil has a well-structured but notably bureaucratic marriage process, and knowing what to expect from the beginning can save you months of frustration, missed deadlines, and unnecessary stress. The entire legal framework for marriage in Brazil revolves around a civil registry office, known locally as a cartório. This is not just a formality. The cartório is the central institution responsible for processing, validating, and officiating your marriage. There are no shortcuts around it. The civil ceremony performed at the cartório is what gives the marriage its full legal effect under Brazilian law. Any religious ceremony you may wish to have afterward is entirely optional and carries no independent legal weight on its own. Before any wedding can take place in Brazil, the couple must go through a mandatory legal process called habilitação matrimonial, which translates roughly to marriage qualification or marriage registration. Think of it as the official application to get married. During this phase, both parties submit their documents to the cartório, which then reviews everything, publishes a public notice announcing the intended marriage, and waits for any legal objections to be raised. Only after this period is completed and no valid objections have been filed can the couple proceed to schedule the actual ceremony. The habilitação process typically takes between 45 and 90 days from the moment all documents are accepted. This is a fixed legal timeline and cannot be shortened under normal circumstances. So if you are thinking about flying to Brazil and getting married within a few weeks, that simply is not how it works here. Planning ahead is not just recommended, it is absolutely required. The list of documents required for the habilitação includes items such as birth certificates, valid identification documents, proof of marital status, proof of residence, and in the case of foreigners, additional certified and apostille documents from their home country. Here is where things get particularly complicated. Many of these documents have expiration dates. A birth certificate issued more than 90 days ago may not be accepted. A proof of single status from a foreign country might need to be recently issued, officially translated into Portuguese by a sworn translator, and properly apostilled. If even one document expires while you are waiting for another to arrive, you may need to start parts of the process over again. For a foreigner, coordinating paperwork across two countries, different legal systems, and multiple languages, this juggling act can become genuinely overwhelming. The margin for error is small, and the consequences of missing a deadline can push your entire timeline back significantly. Another important detail that many people overlook is the question of jurisdiction. Not every cartório in Brazil can process your marriage. The correct cartório is determined by the residential address of the Brazilian partner. This means you need to identify the specific civil registry office that serves the neighborhood or municipality where your Brazilian partner is registered as a resident. Choosing the wrong cartório can result in your application being rejected outright, forcing you to start the process again in the correct location. It is also worth noting that same-sex couples have the full legal right to marry in Brazil, a right that has been recognized since 2013 following a landmark ruling by the Brazilian Supreme Court. The process and requirements are the same regardless of the gender of the parties involved. For couples who prefer not to go through the full marriage process, Brazilian law also recognizes what is called a União Estável, or stable union. This is a legally recognized partnership between two people who live together in a stable, public, and continuous relationship with the intention of forming a family. While a stable union can be established informally over time, the strongly recommended approach is to formalize it through a written contract drafted and registered with a notary. This contract clearly defines the legal rights and obligations of both partners, including property arrangements and financial matters. Both marriage and stable union grant the foreign partner eligibility to apply for a Brazilian residence visa connected to the relationship. This is a significant benefit and one of the primary reasons many international couples choose to formalize their union through one of these two legal pathways. One critical requirement that is often misunderstood is that the foreign partner must be in Brazil legally at the time of both the habilitação and the ceremony itself. An irregular immigration status can create serious obstacles and may even prevent the process from moving forward. However, Brazilian law does allow for certain acts to be performed through a legal proxy, meaning that under specific circumstances, a properly authorized representative can act on behalf of one of the parties through a formal power of attorney. This can be particularly useful for couples managing long-distance logistics, but it must be set up correctly to be legally valid. If you are a foreign national who has married a Brazilian citizen or is living in a duly recognized stable union, please be aware that this entitles you to apply for a permanent visa in Brazil. This benefit is established under Brazilian immigration law and allows the foreign spouse or partner to legally regularize their status in the country. To submit the application, you will be required to present documentation proving the marital bond, such as a marriage certificate registered at a notary's office or one of the documents recognizing the stable union, in addition to any other documents required by the competent authorities. It is important to emphasize that the union must be genuine and duly formalized in order for the application to be accepted and reviewed by the responsible agencies. Consult for further information. The Brazilian marriage process is genuinely complex, and the bureaucratic demands can feel overwhelming, especially when you are trying to coordinate everything from abroad while also planning the most important day of your life. If you want to focus on the joy of the moment and leave the paperwork to professionals who do this every day, that is exactly what the team at Botinha Cabral International Law does. The firm handles the entire marriage process from document collection and cartorio coordination all the way through to the subsequent visa application for the foreign partner. Whether you are getting married or formalizing a stable union, having experienced legal support makes the entire journey smoother, faster, and far less stressful. You can learn more and get in touch through the website at www.lawyerinbrazil.com.